For my final project on the vision of the future of education, I chose to consider how geography curriculum will be taught at the elementary school level. In this presentation, I will first provide a summary of the traditional models of teaching geography that have been used in the past. Then I will talk about my future vision of geography being taught in the classroom, as well as home, which is often cited as future directions of how learning will change over time. Here I will explore the learning theories that are used in this future vision. I will provide an example of how virtual reality can be used in the classroom, as well as some of the benefits and concerns to consider when applying VR to teaching geography. Lastly, I will talk about some of the recommendations I have for how this future vision can be achieved by the work of educational technologists. I remember back in school, learning geography was basically memorizing a list of countries, capitals, and states, as well as identifying on a map the equator, the prime meridian, and stuff like that. This is the class I disliked the most. I was not excited, and I didn't find the purpose of it. Traditional models use the teacher as the sole expert on the topic. Nowadays, in many cases, the teaching techniques have improved. They have puzzles, they have videos that can help the learning experience to be a little bit more interesting and engaging. However, much can be improved. The ironic thing is that despite hating geography class, I always loved the idea of traveling. This is why many of the progressive learning theories emphasize hands-on interactive learning experiences. As Collins and Halverson said, students need to learn by doing rather than memorizing a large amount of facts. This is why this vision of the future relies in activity-based learning, such as role-playing and first-person interactive experiences. The features of this future are supported by the C2I learning theory that suggests the learner must be in the proper context to facilitate learning. As described in our textbook, one of the strengths of this learning theory is integrating knowing with doing. The other foundation for this vision can be found in the constructivist learning theory that suggests that knowledge is first constructed in a social context. In constructivism, it recommended the creation of a complex learning environment that contains relevant activities to the learning subject, collaboration to engage in multiple perspectives of the learning subject, support the learners in setting up their goals, and encourage learners to reflect on the learned material. I believe virtual reality can support my vision because the activities that can be created with this technology have the potential of setting the learner in the right context, which is supported by the learning theories mentioned in the previous slide. The level of physical interaction in VR is great when compared to a regular game or computer program that requires the learner to focus their attention on a screen while operating the application. On the other hand, virtual reality allows for a full 360 degrees of sensory stimuli, which amplifies the learner's motivation. The lesson I envisioned for teaching geography with VR was inspired by a book published in 1995 that my wife remembers reading as a kid in the 5th grade. This book is by a photojournalist, Peter Menzel, and called Material World, a Global Family Portrait. In this book, he captures life in 30 countries. He and other photographers took photos of statistical average family in these 30 countries. The families were photographed outside of their home with all their belongings. While my wife remembers being amused by this book, I took her example and considered how not all students will be blown away by this, or truly understand how it comes to represent the diverse countries and cultures of the world. Taking this idea, VR could make this concept into something even more powerful than teaching about countries, political borders, capitals, and human geography as well. I envision that these VR lessons could start by orienting the learner where they are on the globe. From there, they could choose to travel to another country. This will provide them an idea of where they are in relation to the other countries on the globe. Once the learner has traveled to the location, they will get the opportunity to explore these locations, such as the homes representative of average households in the country. They will get to interact with the local people and families who live in these areas, and even see their standard greetings, gestures, and hear them speak in their native languages. They will learn about locations in the region, like the capital of the country. They will get the opportunity to explore what possessions a typical family has in their house, learning about the culturally relevant tools and items of value. This type of VR experiences is supported by the situated learning theory, as we previously saw, that says that you have to place the learner in the proper context to learn. VR can create the complex learning environment as suggested in the constructivism theory. As mentioned earlier, this learning environment should be relevant with activities for the learning subject, promote collaboration, help the learner set up their own goals, and encourage the learner to reflect on what was learned. Lastly, this VR exploration shows elements of game-based learning. The learner will be captivated by their interactions and explorations that it is likely that they will experience the play phenomenon, feeling like they are at play rather than studying. Another benefit of this type of VR lesson is that the teacher can develop additional activities to assign the class to help them learn target learning objectives about human geography, both before and after the use of VR. Teachers can prepare students for what they should think about before entering VR. Similarly, teachers will help students engage in discussions and reflections on what they have learned after VR. Students can share with each other the different countries they were able to visit with their time using the VR, and what they like the most about each country and experience. Some of the benefits of this activity are engaging students and creating meaningful experiences for the student. Opportunity to engage students in reflection exercise. Some of the concerns are that VR is currently one of the most expensive technologies in the market. However, prices are coming down and there are less expensive VR technologies coming into the market. Schools with limited resources might not be able to implement this technology, which can be concerning if some of the schools are not able to allow students to engage in these enriching experiences, leaving them further behind. More staff might be needed to supervise users, because this technology can potentially harm the user if they bump into something while they are operating the VR lesson. Difficulty creating new content, because this might require programmers and designers. My recommendations for educational technologies are: create evidence-based lessons plans, train teachers on how to use VR technologies as suggested in the AR and VR white paper from our coursework. Teachers are often slow to adopt new technologies, thus targeting training to keep these technologies a trend is needed. Implement complementary activities for the learner to reflect on the learned materials. Promote implementation in public schools through advocating for new educational resources. Thank you.